Now we're going to see what happens to the optimal consumption point when there's a change in the price of one of the goods. So we're going to first assume that the price of C decreases. We're going to start from an original budget constraint, and if the price of C decreases, that means that the budget constraint is going to pivot to the right. Indeed, when the price of C drops, there's an increase in the feasible maximum quantity of C that the consumer can consume. The maximum quantity of B doesn't change because the price of B does not change. Now, if the price of C decreases, this graph suggests that the consumer's optimal consumption point is going to move from P1 to P3. Here we see that when the price of C decreases, the consumption of C increases. This defines what is called an ordinary good. An ordinary good is a good such that when the price of the good decreases, the quantity demanded of that good increases. Another type of good is called a Giffen good. A Giffen good is the opposite effect. So when the price of C decreases, the Giffen good shows that the quantity demanded for that good tends to decrease as well. So here, the optimal consumption point for the consumer is shifting from P1 to P3, and you see that the consumption of good C tends to decrease between P1 and P3. So when the price of C decreases, the quantity demanded of C decreases as well. Giffen goods are much more theoretical than they are real. Originally, Giffen goods come from the potato famine that took place in Ireland in the 19th century. What happened was that the potatoes were being affected by some type of disease, and the disease tended to destroy crops. So potatoes became a rare good, and therefore the price of potatoes actually increased. Because potatoes increased, the quantity demanded of potatoes also increased. That seems a little bit strange. So what happened? Before, consumers were able to purchase potatoes and other goods, for instance, meat. So that was before the disease affected potato crops. Once the disease hit potato crops and the prices of potatoes increased, well, consumers were still purchasing potatoes, but because of the price increase, they could not afford buying meat anymore. Since they could not afford buying meat anymore, they ended up wanting to buy even more potatoes. So that led to an increase in the quantity demanded of potatoes. So essentially, Giffen goods are goods that are going to be increased more because of scarcity and because of the increasing price prevents consumers from buying other goods that they used to be able to purchase before, in the case of the potato famine, before the disease hit potato crops. Veblen goods are goods that are similar to Giffen goods in the sense that when the price of those goods increases, the quantity demanded for those goods increases. But it has nothing to do with necessity goods. It's actually quite the opposite. Veblen goods are goods that are kind of show-off goods, or they represent some types of conspicuous consumption. So you can think of luxury goods such as watches, cars, diamonds. Those are goods that people want to consume because they're expensive and because they want to be able to show that they are able to purchase expensive goods. So Veblen goods are goods such that the preferences actually depend on the price of the goods, right? You want to be able to show off that you're able to buy a very expensive good. The logic is quite different, but in the end, both Giffen goods and Veblen goods are goods such that when the price increases, the quantity demanded of the goods increases as well.